What's up, Hanz family? In honor of Fallout 4 coming out and me loving the Fallout series, I decided to do a sexy Super Mutant. I mean, maybe not that sexy, but you know. This shall be in honor of Fox. Beautiful Fox. All product details will be listed down below as usual, and let's get to it. I'm using a reference picture from a few different Super Mutants, and I'm just starting out by sketching out where I want the mouth. And in this reference picture I'm looking at, they have a little belt pulling the mouth upwards, so I'm drawing that as well. Mehron Makeup's olive body paint was perfect for this, and then I am using my Sigma flat brush. This is actually an FX brush, just to dispense the color all over where I want it. Dispense the color? Why did I decide to choose that word of all words? This is water activated paint, so just add a little water on it and it becomes a nice creamy texture, and you'll just have to kind of play around with what kind of texture and consistency you like the paint to be. I like mine to be pretty thick so it's nice and opaque. This is Mehron's 3D gel, and I actually wanted to use this for Halloween, but I wanted to try it out a few times first before I taught it in a tutorial. So what you do is you put this bottle in a little glass of hot water and it melts, and you can just take it out of the bottle and then put it on your skin. It causes these really cool 3D effects. So I'm just doing that a little bit, and I'm leaving just that little portion, and I just want to start painting the belt using a brown body paint from Mehron. And then for the teeth, I'm using this Sugar Pill lip brush, which is perfect for teeth, and I'm mixing white and Dijon from Mehron together to get kind of an off-white yellowy color, because Super Mutants, they ain't got pearly whites, alright? Their teeth are pretty fucking yellow. That's okay, they don't know that much about dental hygiene. His mouth has this larger gap towards each side of the mouth, and so I'm just drawing that in with some black body paint, and then I want to start defining the teeth. In most of the pictures, they don't have a full set of teeth going on. It's just kind of a few big blocky ones showing, so I'm making them larger in the front and smaller as they go back behind my mouth. For the front of the mouth, I'm mixing a little bit of brown and red body paint just so it's not so dark. Using Mocha by Makeup Geek, you guys know this is my holy grail shading color. You should know that by now, and obviously I've hit pan from Halloween. I'm just starting to sketch out some of the wrinkles. I'm using a reference picture again, so I am pretty much mimicking the wrinkles on my face, and you can use your own face as a reference. Scrunch up your face and just add in that brown shade wherever you have wrinkles that show prominently. They're really angry, you know, they're pissed off, they're super mutants. They got all kinds of shit going on, so you want your skin to look wrinkly as shit. Just so that those aren't so harsh, I want to take a fluffy brush, which is also for Makeup Geek, and I am just blending that color out. This will kind of act as the base of our wrinkles and where our skin is pulling into these little lines. Darken up the shadows even more as you go, and then I'm taking Corrupt from Makeup Geek, which is their black matte eyeshadow, and I'm going to really, really darken and define these wrinkles. They have really intense brows and kind of that furrowed brow when you're mad and your brows are pushed downwards. There would be a ton of shadow underneath that because theirs is so large and prominent out of their head. So make sure around your eyes that they look really sunken in and really darken up those wrinkles so they look super intense. Basically, you're taking that black shade and you're blending it into the brown. If you have to, you know, go back in with some more brown so that it's really blended out. You don't want the wrinkles to just look super black or super brown. You kind of want the brown to be the transition shade and then the black to just really help to darken those so they look really deep, because the darker a wrinkle is, the deeper it is. Their noses are really wide, so I'm kind of just making that with makeup since my nose isn't as wide as theirs. And I'm darkening around my nose. Then I'm taking a little bit of black body paint, and I actually want the nostril to be a little larger than mine is. My nostril isn't quite as large as theirs, so using that inside my nose, which is a very awkward feeling, I just want to make my nostril appear a little bigger. Continue to darken up the wrinkles around your eye, and then we will move on to around the mouth. The mouth on them is kind of this big gaping hole, so I want to add tons of shading around the sides and around the chin as well. Make sure to shade using Mocha and Corrupt underneath those little straps that they have going on too, because those would definitely leave a mark. And then I do want to set these little 3D gel portions with translucent powder. That'll make it so they're not sticky. Super Mutants, I mean, you look at their necks and it's like, damn, you got some thick neck. So I'm just using some more makeup, mainly going in with Corrupt, and then I'm actually using Mocha to then shade out the Corrupt a little bit, just to really look like my neck is tensed up, because if you tense up your neck, you have all kinds of little, all of your tendons and muscles pop out, so they have that just all the time naturally. So just keep going darker and darker until you find a spot that you like. I went super dark, as you can see, and it even started to darken around my shoulders as well. I'm going back in with that 3D gel because I just wanted to see kind of the dry time, and it was really, not too long. So I went on top of the paint, and I'm just adding little pieces here and there. You can see I'm using a brush, which I would just use a brush that you don't really care about. Mine seems to be okay, but I would still use a brush that you don't really mind if it gets a little messed up. And I'm just adding these little globs. This stuff is super fun to work with, and I actually can't wait to do a look like full of it too. I added some more on my chest, and on one of them I made a little indentation inside of it so it almost looked like there was a hole, and then just set those with translucent powder again too so that they aren't sticky. Mehron Makeup's Bruise Wheel, which I actually got from fxcosplay.com. I'm using that, and I'm using the yellow tone from that just to cover these little globs of goo. One of the pictures I was using for the Super Mutants had these kind of darkish boils all over his face, and it looked so cool, so I definitely wanted to mix that in as well. Using Kryolan's Clown White, which is a cream-based paint, I do want to highlight the face. Highlighting the face is just as important as adding those shadows for the wrinkles. Adding highlights to those are going to make them pop even more, and so you got to do the highlights. I'm also adding a little bit of highlights on the yellowy goo too, just so that little tops of the goo pop out, because naturally some light would hit them and be a little lighter in some portions. If you aren't comfortable, use a reference picture. Really look at how the light and shadow hits that reference picture on that Super Mutant. I'm just quickly going to do the ones on my chest. The chest globs were a little bigger, so they took a little longer to dry, but I'm also adding a little bit of darker eyeshadow to it too, just to give it a little more dimension. For the teeth, I'm using Mocha again, and what I'm doing is I'm taking Mocha around the outsides of each tooth, and then I'm focusing more of the shadow on each side of the mouth. This will help to make the mouth look more curved. If the front of the mouth is very light and the backs of the mouth are darker, it's going to make it look like the top of the mouth is curving outwards. Define the lines with a little bit of black body paint, and then I'm using a little bit of that white cream paint just to highlight the teeth a little. Use a little bit of Mocha eyeshadow to darken the two sides of the straps that are going on, and then use a little bit of that white cream paint to highlight the middle. This will again help it to look more curved and help it to look kind of shiny. Adding a few little white accents to the outsides of the little straps. And then filling in one of the straps on my chest with white and black paint from Mehron mixed together to get a very light gray. Adding in a little bit of brown, and then adding on black for the tire portion of this shoulder. The picture I was using had this really cool tire shoulder pad, which is fucking awesome, so I definitely wanted to do that. And I'm just taking some white cream paint, and I'm kind of creating a tire pattern. I'm not really doing too much to it. It's pretty much just making little V shapes and then making upside down V shapes that way too. You can see I'm really blending out the white cream paint a little bit so it's not bright white. It's kind of mixing with the black a little bit to make a nice light gray. Keeping some of them brighter white towards the middle, and then I'm going to start darkening up that metal portion of that other strap. It is metal, so you want it to look pretty dimensional, so I'm using a little bit more of that white cream paint too to really brighten and highlight the top and bottom portions of the metal, and drawing on some little buttons as well. Do the same thing you did with the leather straps that we did on the face, and then with the metal we want to darken underneath the buttons and add a little bit of black shadow on the other side of the buttons too. Give me a sec while I pop on my contacts, wig, and goggles, and here is the final look. I hope you guys liked this tutorial. It was so much fun to do, and I absolutely love the outcome. I hope my other fellow Fallout lovers love this tutorial, and I hope you're having a blast and a fucking half playing Fallout Rat Meow. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I post videos Mondays and Thursdays. Thanks for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you later.